Hello and welcome back to the Coaches Show on 90.1 KBPK. I'm Ryan Osborne and I am joined by Holden Remy. And once again, Fullerton College, the season is underway. We talked about week one last week and it was kind of previewing the 99th Key to the County game that would be played between Fullerton College and Santa Ana. Now, the way that things kind of ended out there, Holden, if you're a Hornet fan, you're pretty happy with how the result finished.
Yeah, definitely, just looking at the score, 56-7 victory, very large margin. You're watching the game and you can tell Fullerton was just in control the entire game.
I mean, you mentioned that, 22 points in the first quarter for the Fullerton College Hornets. Once they got on the board, it felt like Fullerton didn't really have to look back too much. Santa Ana, you mentioned it, only putting up 7 points, but when you look at it, we'll start with the offense. Fullerton College offense asserted themselves early on.
Yeah, definitely, looking at past years, at times the offense can look like a little frustrated and jumbled, not able to finish drives or not able to convert on first downs. But watching the game, it seems like the offense, the entire game was just very comfortable, able to convert those first downs and, of course, able to finish those drives with points.
You want to talk about comfort level? Josh Calvin looked really comfortable on Saturday. He was named the MVP of the 99th Key to the County game.
Yeah, definitely. You look at his stat line, 11 for 15, only 4 incomplete passes. He had 2 touchdowns, 208 yards. He had a very nice, about 25-yard scramble for his second touchdown. Looked very comfortable back there, looked very poised, and looked like he's ready to lead these Hornets to a successful season.
So the passing game was good. You mentioned the running game as well. Fullerton rushing for over 140 yards on Saturday, and that's pretty big because we've seen in years past, if you're a Coach Campbell coach team, you've got to have the passing game and the running game clicking at the same time in order to have success. Well, a team that they're going to need success and that balance against is Cerritos. They face them this Saturday. So when you take a look at this last Saturday, this last week in week one, you face Santa Ana. Having that balance really helps out the Hornets, especially when they're just getting their season underway.
Yeah, definitely. First off, to have one rusher rush for over 100 yards is massive, and to have your whole team rush for over 140 yards is going to be very important in playing against a team in Cerritos where, if you look in the past years, it's been pretty high-scoring games. So if you don't have that balanced offense with a good rushing attack and a good passing attack to complement it, you just won't be as successful as they were last Saturday against Santa Ana.
Now, last week when we were doing our preview, you got to talk to Donnie Logan, Don. When you talked to him, he talked all about his offensive line, what they were going to expect on Saturday, and honestly, how difficult it is to coach against a rival team in week one. His offensive line looked sensational on Saturday. They were opening up lanes. They were keeping the pocket clean as well for Calvin and the rushers. So that offensive line, good luck being on the Coaches Show with Coach Donnie Logan, Don. Speaking of being on the Coaches Show last week, Phil Austin, his group, well, they played really well on Saturday too. 2 pick sixes, and they were taking away all options from the Santa Ana quarterback who just didn't look comfortable throwing the ball against a Brian Crooks defense and a Phil Austin defensive backing core. So, 2 different groups were on the Coaches Show last week. They both had pretty good luck. And for Fullerton College, they're happy with the result this last Saturday. So, as we continue with the Coaches Show, that's it for the Key to the County game, but we're going to preview Cerritos, as that's the big matchup that Holden Remy mentioned just a few moments ago, coming up this weekend.
I'm Holden Remy here with wide receiver Jordan Smith, who happened to lead the Fullerton wide receivers last Saturday against Santa Ana. Jordan, how did it feel to be back out there for the first game this season?
It was great. It was really great, actually. Been waiting all year for this, and it just felt good to get back on the field and do what I do.
And how was it playing in the 99th annual Key to the County game?
It was really an honor. Coach been harping on it all camp. It's a big game. Do this every year, and then for it to be the 99th, that's a big milestone. I wish I could be here for the 100, but.
Now, 4 catches for 71 yards yesterday. Like I mentioned earlier, you led the receivers. How does it feel being back out there for now, this being your second year at Fullerton?
It was great, and last year I was asking for this. I was asking, to get those opportunities, and now that I'm getting them, I'm making the most out of them. So.
How much more comfortable would you say you feel now that you're in your second year?
Definitely, this is the most comfortable I've ever been playing football, And it all starts with Coach Gardner, Coach Griff. They've been getting me ready for the past 2 years I've been here, and they really progressed me as a player and helped me get to where I'm at right now.
Yeah, you definitely look comfortable on the field. It seemed like any time we needed to come up with a first down or a big catch, you happened to be the person to catch the ball. Do you feel like you see yourself as somewhat of a security blanket for your quarterbacks?
Absolutely, absolutely, and I want them to continue to think of me that way. You know, if we need a big play, I want to be that player to make that big time play.
And you know, this being the first game, you definitely showed what you can do. What kind of things have you been working in the offseason that you think really showed in this first game?
I say mostly my speed. You know, coaches tried to harp on that a lot last year. You know, I wasn't the fastest, but you know, I needed to work on my speed, and I feel like I've definitely progressed with that, and it's become a lot better.
Yes, and like we said earlier, 4 catches for 71 yards, a great game, leading the receivers. Do you feel like you consider yourself to be a leader out there in the wide receiver group?
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's every day, even at practice. You know, I try to always get my guys going, you know, keep them on track. That's an everyday thing, absolutely.
And, you know, looking forward to next week, you guys are playing Cerritos, typically a high-scoring game. If we look back last year, pretty high-scoring game. What are some things that you're going to be looking forward to in this next game and looking forward to executing?
Great opponents. I love competing at the highest level, and I love that we're going to be going against a good Cerritos team. So I'm glad to see a real competitive game coming up.
And, you know, if you look back at Cerritos last year, what are some things that you're looking forward to improve on from last year's performance to this year?
Be more assignment sound, you know. I was a freshman last year, so I had a shaky game, but this year I'm looking to be more assignment sound, you know, stick to my assignments and make sure I do everything right.
You know, one more question about last week against Santa Ana. What would you say was your favorite part or play of the game?
Absolutely the touchdown ball from my quarterback, Brandon Nunez. Unfortunately, it got called back, but that was definitely one of my favorite plays that game.
Definitely going to be looking for Jordan Smith catching some balls in the end zone in these next couple weeks, and we want to say good luck against Cerritos. Thank you, Jordan Smith.
Yep, thank you.
We are here with Coach Keenan Gardner. And Coach, when you take a look at this last Saturday, you know you had the scrimmage, but you turned it into a rivalry week 1. How do you grade your guys this last Saturday?
I would kind of grade us out maybe at about a B to a B+. Okay. And the reason for that is there's always things that we can improve on, and a lot of that you can't tell until you're in a real game atmosphere. But the biggest, like I say, for the B+, I would say closer to a B+ would be we went out there and executed the things that we wanted to do. Certainly things we wanted to clean up there, but the guys executed at the level we did and got the result that we should have gotten.
I mean, when you mentioned that, each time that we've had or we've seen your team have really significant success, it's all been about how well you can execute your game plan in the first 3 series. How do you look at the first 3 series against Santa Ana and how you guys did?
Yeah, a little tough there to grade it with the Santa Ana because we had a plan to basically exploit the difference in talent level, speed, and physicality there. And that's just something they weren't going to be able to match regardless. So the execution was what we would grade it on, and we executed, and we got got points out of it. But our game plan was to show the deficiency as far as personnel between the 2 programs there, because that's what a lot of the leading up to it is that, you know, the talk, the side talk was that whether their program was at the same level as ours, just personnel wise, and we knew better than that.
Coach, in the past you and I have talked about your receiving group, what they can do if they assert their physicality. Do you think that the physicality that you saw in camp translated well into that first game?
Yeah, if you go back and watch the first play of the game, on that first run, my receiver put the DB 15 yards down the field and drove him into the ground, into the sideline. And that's the type of tempo, that's what I initially was talking about, is to set a tone that most of the time defense dictates physicality on a football field, but it doesn't have to be that way. I want the attitude of my guys to be is that we can take the fight to you.
I mean, when you mention that, every time that we see your wide receiving group having a spectacular game, it's always been when you guys go out there and set the first punch, and all of a sudden the defense looks like they're on their heels the rest of the way. When you take a look at this Saturday against Cerritos, the word that we hear floating around is violence. How quickly your guys can get there, or their guys can get there. How do you prepare your guys for a game like that?
Well, what you're going to see is that it's going to be that old Mike Tyson, turn your glove to the side and charge. Is that my guys, again, are going to come out and we're going to show the violence will come in the physicality in the run game. But what we're right now, as we assess the teams that are out there, is that I have a lot of top end speed. So before you're going to be able to hit us, it's going to be a little more Mayweather. You're going to have to catch us, and that's where we're looking at. Is we have the ability, and we've worked all this week, and the guys that worked this hard had kind of had a part to play in Saturday's game, in that it probably could have got worse on some plays that they got their hands on my guys. So we've worked on them getting shed in hand fighting there, because if once we get loose, you're not catching my guys.
One thing that you've talked to me about is everyone at this level can catch. Everyone at this level has speed. The question is, can you block? How do you teach that in a game coming up against Cerritos, who their defensive backs have a tendency to quickly get into the backfield with their speed?
Heart, desire, and will. It comes down to that. When you're talking about stock blocking as a receiver, you just have to have the heart to want to go out there and knock the other guy on his butt. That desire, that comes from them understanding. They want, in the case if we're in a 4-receiver set, we want all 7 other guys to operate, block, and do well and be physical for us to be successful. So we also have to do it on plays when it involves everyone else but us. So that's that will. Then desire is just personally. These guys are all looking to gain 4-year scholarships and move on and transfer, and they need to show that desire to that coach that's recruiting, that they want to go out there and have the desire to be a good run blocker on the edge.
With the community college game moving more towards mobile quarterbacks consistently as we progress through the future, how do you teach wide receivers that football IQ of going out and not only just blocking, but finding someone to block?
Well, that's alignment assignment, is that generally on every play we have someone that's assigned to block. But what makes the complexity now of the game where it's at now is that a lot of the plays are RPOs, which are run pass options. So on that same run play, we also may have a route attached to it. So a lot of that is understanding what they see pre-snap, running the assigned route, and being able to react to the defensive back's reaction and get in front of them in stock block. Because a lot of the times on run plays, we also may have a pass route that's attached to it.
Right.
So it's understanding what the defense is doing ahead of time before you come off the ball, and then being able to react once the play starts to know whether the ball's been handed or the quarterback's pulled it, and we go from being a receiver to blocking.
Now, when you take a look at your wide receivers, they've been dealing with this more at the high school level, and now coming into this type of college-style offense. How do you look at them and say, okay, this is how you block, this is how you run, this is how you find your selections quickly?
That's what January to July is for, is that a lot of teams, like I said, when you get to the high school level, football, you have the 7-on-7, but for the most part, football season becomes about July and August when you're back with the team and we start to, focus on what the team. Whereas at the college level, a lot of the things, a lot of the skill sets, a lot of the film work is done from when we get back in January into that, from the winter session, start of the spring session, through spring ball into the summer. That's when you have the time to work on the skill set, to show them how fundamentally to do the things, because by the time we get to the season and we're game time now, it's got to be reaction. At this point, the guys that if I have to teach that to, they're pretty much not playing on Saturdays.
I mean, Coach, when you mention that, you take a look at the fact that you have January to now with this season. Finally, the world is getting back on track. Have you noticed a significant difference between last year not having January to August versus this year?
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. And it's something that, like I said, we really kind of assessed. You can see the difference in having it this year, where it's back to what normal it used to be. But where we really started to understand and have to step back during the last season was when you look at, because at the junior college level, you only have freshmen and sophomores. Unlike a 4-year program, you may have guys that, you had a whole year, you had the pandemic, but they've been in the system for a year, or they've been, that we have to realize our freshmen really hadn't been in school in transition from high school to college. Usually, normally in life, you get to go across the stage and and whether it starts, it becomes that actual barrier line in the sand that, okay, I'm transitioning from this point in my life to the next. Well, last year with a lot of our young freshmen, we didn't realize they didn't. So a lot of the immaturity, a lot of the things you expect, like why are they acting like high school seniors? They really were kind of stuck being high school. They never transitioned. So now having the chance for our young guys, our freshmen, to come in, get in the weight room, see what a college lifting, strength and conditioning is. Get out here and run and get assessed with at least the speed of the college game there. It translates into them being able to come out here now and perform at a better standard. And I think it affected everybody overall.
Coach, we look forward to seeing you on Saturday against Cerritos. It's going to be fun.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you. All right.
We're here with Malik Winston, running back for Fullerton College. Malik, what was it like after getting that win against Santa Ana?
It was a good feeling coming out, starting the year 1-0. It's a big win, big rivalry game. The coaches have always harped how big of a game it is, the key to the county, all that. Especially with them kind of having issues with camp and all that, ducking out of the game last year. Felt good to come out, just have a good statement win and start the season off right.
And this being your second year, what was it like playing in that first game? Now that it's your second year, you're a little bit more comfortable and you're ready to get after it.
Man, it felt really good to get back out there, get my first couple of college carries. It felt good to get that under my belt. Really just makes me more hungry than ever, really, just to get going and keep stacking on top of that.
Yeah, and as we were talking about before this interview, you're saying really hungry, really ready to get your opportunities and make the most of them, which you did in the game. We were talking about that even before we first started filming at practice, that about 40-yard rush where you broke tons of tackles. Can you run me through that play?
Yeah, we just had a power to the right call. Our left guard, Danny, was pulling through. It just opened up really nicely. I did what we were coached all offseason. Coach Campbell harping us to stay vertical, keep things tight, as well as our running back coach, Coach Sober. So, just kept it tight. Offensive line did their thing. All credit to them, for real. Got me to the second level pretty easily. And, I just had to run hard and finish the play.
And you mentioned Coach Sober being the new running back coach this year. What has the transition been like from Coach Gardner last year to Coach Sober this year?
It's been a really smooth transition for sure. Both guys are great coaches. I think they fit really well with where they're at right now. Coach Gardner still helps us out a lot. Really not too many differences. Just different people for sure. Got to learn his coaching style. He's got to learn us, all new backs. From a game plan standpoint, it's not too much different really. The program is, how Coach Campbell wants everything run. Everything trickles down, and we're getting the same information pretty much.
Last week on the show, we talked to Coach Lobendon, the offensive line coach, as well as Will Peroni, an offensive lineman. How would you say that your offensive line did for you in this game?
Man, especially the second half, you could tell they were the more energized team. Off-season workouts, it felt like it was really showing up. The second half, they're just kind of wearing them down. Man, can't give the guys up front enough credit for real.
And, looking back, running behind the line last year compared to the line this year, what would you say is different this year?
Just being assignment sound. Coach Campbell has really harped alignment, assignment execution all offseason, as well as last year. But I think this group has bought into it just from what I've seen. Not saying they didn't last year, but, I can just see the guys up front. They're really buying in. A lot of communicating really well, even communicating to the backs, telling us what they like, what they don't like, what they want us to do, and vice versa. We're kind of telling them, where we want them, how to set things up, and then just going from there. Communication is the biggest thing for sure.
And if we look at, last year's offense, stereotypically not as much of a powerful offense as Fullerton has in the past. How important do you think the run game is going to be this year in your offense?
Huge. I feel like you ask anybody who knows football, really any offense, you got to start with running the ball. So I feel like we got a really good backfield. It's really deep. And we're all just hungry to, set the tone week in, week out, run the ball, and that's just going to set up our offense. You know how Fullerton does have an explosive offense, so it's going to set up the pass game for sure.
And, we talk about running backs. There's different kinds of running styles. There's power running, speed runners, one-cut running back. What kind of running back would you say you are?
I really like to call myself all-around back. I like to catch the ball, pride myself on blocking. Really, I've always been, a physical runner. I'm trying to expand my game and really be able to finish home run balls, home run runs. I describe myself all-around back for real.
And, next week you play Cerritos College. What are your thoughts going into Cerritos?
Definitely confident. Coming off a big win does nothing but build confidence for the whole entire team. Being at Fullerton College, I feel like we're well prepared week in, week out, all off season. Coach Crooks has been running a really good strength and conditioning program. So from a physical standpoint, I feel like we're all ready. it's just about locking in these last couple of days of practice, staying focused, and alignment, assignment, execution, just staying sound, everything we got going on.
And not only the running backs were on fire in the last game against Santa Ana, but also the quarterbacks were through the air completing their passes and pushing the ball down the field. How important do you think it is to have an air offense as good as your running offense to kind of counteract each other?
Man, it's a blessing for real. Like I just feel like the ultimate confidence. Like whatever play we got dialed up. Obviously I want the ball. I know all my running backs, we want the ball every play. But if we got pass play dialed up and we in pass pro, we're gonna block our butts off to give whoever's back there throwing the ball enough protection. And we got great receivers on the outside. So it's just gives you so much confidence to really realize it's a full, complete offense where you can run the ball, throw the ball, everything's clicking on all cylinders.
And what do you have to say about your running back group?
Depth is the biggest thing. We're pretty deep, in my opinion. It's definitely some guys I feel like haven't even gotten a chance to show really what they can do. We're really, the group is connected for sure. We're all brothers for sure. We count on each other, we help each other out. It's, we really run as one for sure. So.
And how important is that to, you think of a running back, most times there's only one running back on the field at the time. And, only one running back can carry the ball at the time. How does it feel knowing that whether you are the person running the ball or the person on the sideline watching your teammate run the ball, that you have each other's backs?
Yeah. I mean, it feels good. I think, we're all good players, so it's healthy competition. I think anything in life, healthy competition, brings the best out of anybody. So, seeing my brother out there break off big runs, make good blocks, make good catches, it just makes you want to do the same. And, when he comes out, subs out, you want to give him his props because you've seen how hard he worked his butt off all offseason. So, I'm really proud of him.
And one final question, can you give us one phrase or sentence to describe the running back group this year?
Hungry.
Perfect. This has been Malik Winston. Thank you for joining us here on the
Appreciate
Coaches
it.
Show. And we have Josh Calvin with us today, who happened to be the MVP of the 99th annual Key to the County game against Santa Ana. Josh, how did it feel playing in your first college football game?
Honestly, it was unreal, and it took like a couple minutes just to settle down and just take the moment in. But like after that first play, I just felt relaxed and I was ready to go.
Talking about the game, you were the MVP, 11 for 15 with 208 yards and 2 touchdowns, only 4 incompletions. How did it feel being out there, leading your team?
It felt great leading my team. It just felt great being back on the field just with the guys. And Coach Campbell, he drew up a great game plan, and we just executed. And yeah, we won the game. So.
There's a couple plays specifically I want to talk about. If we're talking about that first drive, I want to say when you had that about 40-yard pass to Jordan Smith, 2 wide receivers set on the left side. What did you see during that play?
I just saw man coverage, and I just liked my matchup against them.
Yeah, so. It looked like both of those receivers were wide open.
Yeah.
Were you aiming for Jordan or were you aiming for your
Honestly,
other receiver?
I was aiming for Jordan. It was kind of underthrown a little bit, but I just did what I did and got completed. So.
All right. And then right after that, to score the touchdown, basically 8-yard slant route to your wide receiver, Will Gibson. Talk us through that play.
I just saw the safety roll over, and I just knew I had the one-on-one matchup backside with the slant, and I decided to throw the slant to Will. So.
Yeah. And then 2 more plays on your second drive I want to talk about. One that I was extremely impressed with. I think you might know which one I'm talking about, where you started under center, stepped up, avoided that one pressure, and then as you were going down, underhand flipped it to your receiver for about a 14-yard pass. What was going on in your mind during that play?
Pressure came up to me, and I was honestly trying to throw the ball away, but the ball just ended up in tight end's hands, so
exactly.
I can't really complain about that. But
so you said you were trying to throw the ball away. Were you surprised when your receiver caught that pass?
Yes, I was. I was on the floor, and I just heard the crowd roar, and I just knew that we caught it.
Stood up, and your receiver had caught it. And, all right.
Yeah, and got the first down.
A couple plays after, 25-yard scamper to the end zone.
Yes,
Tell
sir.
me, was that a design run, or did you just see the lane there and decided to take it?
I just saw the lane, and I just took it.
And got to the end zone in a hurry.
Yeah, I just saw there was a big gap open up, and I just decided to just run downhill.
Awesome. And because of your performance last Saturday, here at the Coaches Show, we decided to choose you as our Athlete of the Week. So we're going to go into a little bit more personal questions. I know you played football at Mayfair High School.
Yes, I did.
And then out of high school, you recruited committed to Utah State and then bounced back here at Fullerton College. What was it like during that whole process for you?
Honestly, it was a great process, and I just learned a lot throughout my last 4 years because just being a third string, fourth string guy, I just learned under some great quarterbacks, and I'm grateful for everything. So.
And what was it like playing at Utah State?
It was a great atmosphere. The fans are great, coaches are great, and it was just a great feeling playing there.
And playing at Mayfair High School, I know you had some success at Mayfair High School, and I know you played basketball as well.
Yeah, I did.
Was that the only other sport you played other than football?
Just basketball and football. That's all I did.
Growing up, when did you start play basketball pretty much your whole entire life?
Yeah, so basketball was my first sport. I started playing when I was like 4, and I just fell in love with it.
And what time did you start playing football then?
I started playing football at 8 years old.
Okay.
8 years old.
And would you say that playing both basketball and football helped you on the football field?
Oh, definitely. Definitely helped because basketball, you run a lot. So, yeah, and then also just lateral movement too. So, yeah.
And at what point would you say you decided to choose football over basketball?
I think it just came when I got my first offer from football. So once I got my first offer, I just kind of focused on it more. So,
and looking back, I did a little bit of research on you. I know you were on the all-academic team at Utah State. What have you been studying these past couple of years?
I'm actually a kinesiology major. I plan on being a PE coach, and I also want to coach football.
Very nice.
Yes,
Planning
sir.
on coaching football in the future. Why is that?
My dad was a coach, and I just looked after him after all these years, and I just knew I just wanted to be a coach. And I've also had a lot of knowledge in the past couple of years, and yeah, that's why.
And was your dad your coach growing up?
Oh, he was my coach for my whole life. He's always been on my ear.
So would you say it's pretty seamless transition from being the player to coach?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I gotta
on?
definitely understand what players are going through, and that's a good thing. So yeah.
And you being a quarterback and being a leader, what is it like being under center or basically being in control of the entire offense and having the game in your hand? What is that feeling like?
It's a great feeling. Just I could just lead my guys in the right direction, and that's basically it. Just lead the guys in the right direction.
And now, what kind of things do you do to take your mind off of football?
I watch YouTube. I just hang out with family, honestly. I don't really do much.
And, let's go back to basketball a little bit. Personally, I'm a big basketball fan.
Okay.
When you play basketball and go from basketball to football, was that a difficult transition for you? Because I know there's a lot of athletes who play multiple sports, but what was it like for you?
I don't think it was a big transition. Basketball, I kind of lost a lot of weight because, you're always running a lot and everything, but it took a minute to get the weight back. But besides that, it was an easy transition.
And have you played quarterback all your life?
I have played quarterback my whole life, ever since I started, so yeah.
Have you always had just a great arm?
I feel like I've had a great arm, yeah.
Kind of always knew quarterback was going to be the position you were going for?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. And, I keep going back to basketball, but when you're playing basketball, how different is it when you're on the basketball court compared to being on the football field?
I don't think it's really much of a difference because, on the basketball court and the football court, I'm a leader. I just put my guys in the right position. So yeah.
And for someone who has never played football before, what would you say is kind of the feeling that goes through your mind each and every snap, in a sense?
Just got to think just be ready for a little bit of chaos, honestly, because each play there's a little bit of chaos, but just focus on that play and then just work on the next play after.
And one final question, what are your thoughts looking into next week going up against Cerritos?
I'm excited. I know they're a physical team, they're well coached, and I feel like our guys are ready, we're prepared as well, and it's going to be a dogfight, so yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yes, sir.
This has been Josh Calvin. We're going to wish him good luck against Cerritos next week on Saturday, and that is all.
So we want to thank everyone for joining us on the Coaches Show this week. Quick reminder, this Saturday, 6 p.m., it is Fullerton College and Cerritos. If you want to watch that game, it's going to be on sportsnetusa.net. The voices of Fullerton College football, Corey Nalen, Mark Pavlovich, will be on the call there. From not Nathan Chappelle Stadium, which you're used to, the Hornets are going back to Fullerton Union High School District Stadium. That's across the street from Fullerton College. Now, quickly, behind me, you see ivy. And we haven't addressed it yet here on the Coaches Show this week. The reason why there's ivy is because we are at the baseball field. That is where practice is taking place on occasion for the Fullerton College football team, while House Scherbeck Field, which is about 150 feet behind us, is getting renovated. It's getting some improvements, so that way the Fullerton College Hornets can take advantage of that brand new field that they just put in a few months back. So for the moment being, Fullerton College, a lot of their practice is taking over the baseball field. That's why we've got the Ivy directly behind us. So once again, we want to remind you, coming up on Saturday, 6 p.m., it will be Fullerton College and Cerritos. For Holden Remy, I am Ryan Osborne, thanking you for joining us here on The Coaches Show on 90.1 KBPK.